Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, Elizabeth Dutton, do you know what's ridiculous?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Tell me.
I've been telling you about ridiculous food products, spin-offs from food products.
And I can't stop you.
And I can't stop finding them.
Damn it.
The latest that is ridiculous is that Pepsi is putting out the s'mores collection.
The s'mores collection?
Yeah.
For like scented...
No, the taste, it's like they're Pepsi. There's 3 flavors, toasty marshmallow, graham cracker, and chocolate.
Oh, Pepsi soda.
It's Pepsi soda.
Okay.
And so you can I
thought
drink
maybe there'd be like a tomato sauce. I don't know what you're pushing over here.
You never know. Honestly, these days, I would not be surprised if it
s'mores
was
baby formula.
Candles or whatever.
Brought to you by Pepsi.
Right. So it's only in these mini cans, and they're encouraging consumers to mix them up.
Like with cocktails?
No, like together. So like you drink some of the marshmallow, and then you drink some of the graham cracker, and then you snort some of the chocolate.
You lick your wrist, you throw the salt.
And you can they have different drink recipes depending on the, So they said, quote, s'mores is one of the most unapologetically delicious treats that everyone likes to enjoy in a different way. So on the last day of summer, we at Pepsi are thrilled to introduce an entirely new way to s'more it with your Pepsi s'mores collection.
Tell me s'more.
God, do you
I
work
love the
for them?
smarmy voice you do for
I
Pepsi.
Can't help it. 2,000 lucky people were able to win the drink without buying it, and I think that just means they put it on your front porch and ran away.
Like a flaming bag of crap.
It's like when U2 put their record on iPhones. I didn't
still
ask
there.
for this.
By the way, check your phone. It's still
Is
there.
It? Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things that this made me think of is that you once told me about an experience you had with s'mores ice cream.
Oh my God. Okay, so it's like one of those fancy ice cream places, right? So they're like, yes, we've infused this with the sweat of a Himalayan mountain. I'm like, I didn't know mountains sweat. Okay. They're like, yeah, and this one, I'm like, what's this flavor? They're like, oh, this is s'mores. It's a smoky, delicious flavor. And I was like, all right, bet, I'll try that. You can't mess up chocolate and graham cracker and vanilla. And I ate it. They messed up chocolate and graham cracker and vanilla. It tasted like smoke. It tasted like if somebody had just basically taken a campfire and just licked it and then put that in my mouth. That's what it tasted like. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was horrendous. I took it back to the person who sold it to me. She's like,
you took it back?
Oh, right back. Like I did 2 bites and was like, what is this? Is this wrong? Is this poison? What do you, should you sell this to people? And they're like, oh yeah, I probably should have told you. I didn't think you'd like that. And I was like, you didn't think I'd like it. And you let this idiot walk away with
And
here.
they still sell it.
Yeah. And then they gave me some other like ice cream. They're like, we're going to try this. I was like, no, I'm done with this. And I threw it back. And I'm kidding.
And it's just like made with liquid smoke.
It was horrendous. It tasted like a New Jersey, those places where they make flavors that go into food. Like if they had like runoff from like a bad rainstorm, that's what it tasted like.
I like how every time something doesn't taste good, you say it comes from a New Jersey chemical plant of some sort.
Well, that's what you said
about the Velveteeny.
Well, when I was a kid, I drove through Newark, New Jersey with my dad, and he was like, oh, because my dad's from New Jersey, right? So he takes us, I'm like 5, we go to New Jersey. It's the first time I've been to New Jersey. We come out of this tunnel, he's like, yeah, Newark. And I was like, oh my God, what is that smell? What the hell? And he's like putting the windows down. I'm like, put them up. I'm 5, so I'm like a jerk kid. I'm like, I can't believe you lived here and you didn't move. And I'm like, and he was like, I love that smell. This is home. And so ever since then, like my idea of something smelling horrendous is Newark, New Jersey. So you have to forgive me for constantly, but I don't want to blame the city of Newark. That's not fair.
No.
So I blame the industrial chemical plants that surround the city of Newark and said, you know what, it's them.
It's good. That's a good target.
Because the people, they did nothing to this.
Yeah. Well, so I'm glad you asked what's ridiculous. You know what I'm
No, what is ridiculous?
It's your turn.
I know. So as I was saying, my pop, he's from New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a story for you from New Jersey.
Look at that.
I know. And this is the kind of story that my grandmom and my dad, when I was a boy, they would call each other when there was like New Jersey stories of like some mobster getting busted. They're like, oh, baby boy, did you see who got busted? And she would like send him newspaper clippings because it was like some mobster that they had seen forever in the newspaper. And they would have like favorite mobsters. And so this story is the tale of a mob-affiliated New Jersey state senator who was also an undercover FBI informant, who also faked his own death so that he could escape his troubles and live his dream life of opening a chain of scuba diving schools.
Nice.
This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous. Elizabeth.
Zaron.
My man's name that I'm going to tell you the story of today is David Joel Friedland.
David Joel Friedland.
Yes, write that down. There'll be a quiz at the end.
All right, give me a second. Okay.
He was a brilliant mind, a sensitive soul, a cunning opponent, a New Jersey legend, as I'm about to tell you. You would have liked him when he was young, I bet. Mm-hmm. He was a published poet. He studied under Robert Frost.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I mean, it was like legit. And then he decided to take the road less traveled, and it led him into a criminal life of jet-setting luxury. And he became a publicly elected, corrupt politician and, had years of mafia kickbacks.
Well done.
A New Jersey tale to be told for all times. Now, he followed in his father's footsteps, and he became a lawyer and then later a state legislator, just like Pops. Now, in office, dude starts out young, idealistic Democrat in a Republican-run state government. And I don't know if you know this, but New Jersey was primarily Republican-dominated back then. And this is the 60s, right? So very much like the man in the gray flannel suit, Levitt town, suburbs. This is a very conservative New Jersey, at least southern New Jersey. Now, at the time, there was this small cadre of Republicans who ran the state Senate, and they were called the 21 Club. And there was these 21 dudes who had a lock, and they could block any progressive legislation put forward before the legislature. At 26 years old, David Friedland goes up against this old boys network that's been run in New Jersey. And he argues before the New Jersey Supreme Court that the 21 Club is violating basically the state's statutes about one man, one vote. And he wins. He wins in the New Jersey Supreme Court, right? And he then changes basically how the Assembly and the state Senate are run for a generation, right?
Wow.
He rides this success in 1966 to election. So he becomes now an Assembly member, a legislator, and he has this quick, relentless mind. The guy is super fast. You tell him something, he's going to remember it, right? And he's always looking for angles because his father, a lawyer, has taught him to look at things from a way that most people may not think, right? Now, within 2 years of becoming an elected legislator in New Jersey, he also becomes known for being in the mafia's pocket.
Oh, well.
Right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
So it's South New Jersey. And, this law enforcement officer is doing a list of like, who are the members of New Jersey's political class who are in the pocket of the mafia, who are, quote, too close with organized crime. And he is at the top of this list.
Oh.
Right? So the New Jersey Supreme Court, who he'd argued before to, break up the 21 Club, they take away his law license for 6 months, right?
Oh.
But he doesn't lose his seat in the assembly because New Jersey. So they're just like, you can stay, son.
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated to get rid of. Yeah.
And also, you don't really need a law license. And being an elected politician, the two are not necessarily congruent.
So he's disbarred.
He's suspended. It's not disbarred.
Okay.
It's not permanent. It's for 6 months suspension.
Got
right?
it.
Now, a couple of years pass. It's 1970, and David Friedland at this point is now going through a really messy public divorce and custody fight, right? And his wife claims that her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, is really kind of an off-the-wall personality. He's inconsistent at home, and this was because he's having rampant hallucinations because he's ingesting too much LSD. So there he is, right? It's 1970.
He's don't talk to me till I've had my LSD in the morning.
Exactly. Like, baby, come on with the kids. Come on. I got a head full of acid right now. So we're starting out the 70s as David Friedland. You are a disgraced lawyer, a state legislator who's apparently a secret acid head, and you are on the take for the 5 families of New York and New Jersey. A great career path, right?
I'm so stuck on the LSD. I'm so sorry. That just this guy looks like a candidate for Coke school.
Totally.
I would so imagine him just being all, snowmobile over there. And instead, he's dropping acid all day. Was he microdosing?
No, he's full on
he's megadosing.
Megadosing, tear me off a piece of that sheet.
This is so weird. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so a couple of years pass. He gets out of the divorce. It's now 1977, right? So New York City is bankrupt and asking the U.S. government for a loan. Atlantic City is also having problems. So the East Coast is starting to shrink. So there's a little bit of pressure on all these corrupt politicians who've been basically sliding through the 60s and 70s. Now that the mafia is getting busted by the U.S. government over all sorts of RICO statutes, all these politicians are running for the woods. Kind of. Right? So At this point, it's 1977, and he gets elected to the New Jersey State Senate because, New Jersey. They're like, yeah, whatever. That guy's awesome. And everyone knows him. His father's known in the area, so he gets back in there. And at this point, he gets into trouble. Both he and his father fall from grace together because they had been using the Teamsters Local 701 pension fund as a piggy bank and making loans to friends and cronies while taking a steep cut, right? So he and his pop get convicted on racketeering charges and for all their shady Teamster deals of about $4 million was the principal loan amount. David Friedland goes down and his father goes down, but he, of course, argues he's innocent. He will be exonerated, right? Now, the Teamsters in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
These people have just buried Jimmy Hoffa in a place nobody will find him. And he's doing business with them and thinking I can manage this, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think how our acid head boy is going to do with these rough hitters?
I have no idea. I am so disoriented at this point.
Well, he and his father are facing 21 years in prison.
Yeah.
That's right. But he tells everybody at the Teamsters Local, man, you put me here for a reason, because he is the lawyer for the pension fund and the lawyer for the Teamsters 701 local, right? So he's like, I got you guys.
So their lawyer is on a suspended license.
Well, he's gotten his license back. It's only a 6 month suspension,
that's right.
right?
Yeah, okay.
So his criminal conspiracy runs into the rocks of reality when he is unable to sweet talk his co-defendant's wife into lying to a Newark grand jury. That's what it came down to. He had it all worked out, every angle, but he missed one. His buddy's wife, co-defendant's wife, is like, I'm telling the truth to this grand jury. And he's like, he threatens her and she won't go down. So at this point, 41-year-old David Friedland has to hold a press conference. This is now 1980, holds a press conference and announces he will resign effective immediately from the New Jersey State Senate. He is just basically going to lose everything he's lied and corrupted for, right?
Yeah.
So he tells everybody that he will go and devote his time and resources to finding the real corruption. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I would not be surprised.
No, he's like, I'm going to appeal my conviction. He gets sentenced to 7 years' time, right? He appeals it, and this allows him to remain free. And his primary goal, his one goal is he will not spend a single day in prison, right? So he's like, what do I got to do? Looks like it's time to become a snitch.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Now, Elizabeth, you're an Oakland native, Oakland local.
Yeah.
In the words of Too Short, what happens to snitches? What do snitches get?
Stitches.
Yes. Now, he knows this. David Friedland is, he knows who his drinking and dancing partners are in this nightclub life of his, right? So he's like, And he wants to stay out of prison. So he's like, what do I have to trade? I can't roll over on the mafia. That'll just be a death sentence. So he's like, what do I have of value that I can give to the government? He's like, of course, all my corrupt friends. Some of them are elected officials. So he goes to them. He's like, hey, the mayor of Weehawken Township, my buddy, Mayor Wally Lindsley, dirty as all hell. So he starts basically giving up all of his white shoe lawyer type friends.
Yeah.
And it manages to keep him out of prison. They turn Friedland into an undercover FBI informant. He's willing to wear the whole bit, the body mic. He collects evidence. He's got he gives himself a code name, and he takes down this dude who calls him his best friend. That's the first person he goes for, right?
Wow.
So best friend, Mayor Wally, he goes down easy. And in 1983, he's convicted and he's found guilty of, quote, conspiring to extort $600,000 from developers who wanted to develop businesses on Hudson River waterfront land.
Dude, a waterfront development is just like
boom.
Yeah, it's from the various plot cards that you pull
Exactly.
for when you're struggling to get something written.
You're like, how do I do corruption?
Waterfront development.
So to avoid his prison term, he's trading in his friends for freedom, and things are working out for old Dave Friedland, right? So he's like, what can I do now that I seem to have escaped my 7 years of prison? And so he decides, I'll just quietly get back into crime.
Sure.
So the U.S. Attorney Office in Newark, they discover this. They discover that David Friedland has been playing both sides of the street. Turns out he is still doing illegal deals with the Teamsters pension fund. And there is a grand jury hearing looking into a $20 million deal defrauding the local 701's pension fund in 1982 while he was an undercover FBI informant. So this all comes out in court testimony. Friedland catches wind of it when it's in the grand jury testimony. He hears about this coming investigation.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? It is time for David Friedland to disappear completely. And so after this break, I will tell you about the faked death of David Friedland. Okay, Elizabeth, you ready for the fake death of David Friedland?
Always.
Okay, to borrow a phrase and to set a mood, let's dive in. I'd like you to close your eyes
My eyes
and
are
picture
closed.
it. Okay, it's September 2nd, 1985, Labor Day, and you're on a boat in the Caribbean. It's a 27-foot Boston whaler outfitted for a diving school. You're in a wetsuit, and on your back is a tank of oxygen. Mask's been checked, flippers on your feet, ready to get wet. On the boat with you is a scuba instructor, a cat named Jack Wynn, and there is his client, a man named David, who seems to be more like the owner of the company based on how he's telling everybody what to do. You're a little bit nervous because you've actually never scuba dived before, and you're floating off the Grand Bahama Island. It's a beautiful day, but it's the ocean. There's just nothing around but you and this boat. And in the shallows of the reef that this boat is parked near, you see coral, tropical fish, and you're scared, but you really do want to dive in. You're like, I think I can do this, all right? You know what, you've practiced, you're ready to go, you're eager to see these tropical fish. You look over at David. He's also seemingly ready to dive, except for he's holding a glass of rum in his hand. And
It's not going to go well underwater.
as the waves are rocking the boat about, the rum is sloshing about in his glass, and then to steady his rum cocktail, he puts it on his knee for a second, and then his other hand reaches in, he pulls out a pill bottle, he dumps a couple, but look to be Percodan into his hand, tosses those back into the back of his mouth, washes it down with a long glug of
Yeah,
rum.
boy.
You're like, I like the way he parties, son. So your scuba instructor, Jack, is right there, seated next to him, and he has to have seen that. You're wondering, is it safe to dive when you're drunk and high on Percodan, like high enough to like tranquilize a horse? I mean, that seems like that would be bad.
Well, respiratory failure
Yeah.
is like right around the corner.
You're like, you're edging that
Why
one.
would you stress it anymore?
So as you wonder about these respiratory failure and the effect of mixing pills and rum, you watch David and Jack as they whisper some stuff back and forth. You're like, ooh, shush, shush. And this pill-popping, rum-soaked David then pulls his face mask down. He looks ready. He then falls backwards off the boat and disappears into the blue. Damn, I guess he's going for it. So you're like, oh, I guess it's time for me too. And so you look at Jack Wynn, he nods, and then you pull down your mask, you fall backwards over the side of the boat, splash into the ocean. You're now underneath, amongst the aquatic life, enjoying yourself weightless, like an alien on this planet, right? Mm-hmm. It's so nice. You're like, I can't believe this is what the earth is like. And you're gliding further and further and down into the surf. And
Am I on acid right now?
No, but
Okay.
you can be if you want to be.
Okay, yeah, let's say I am.
You're on acid too, on acid by yourself. And this semi-silent world of bubbles and blue and fish and all sorts of tropical colors, just amazing. You're like, I got to do this again. Mm-hmm. And you still see pill-popping, rum-swilling David ahead of you.
Is he floating face down?
No, interestingly, he's not doing what anybody else is doing. He's swimming towards the shallows, like he's like trying to get to the sand. You're like, well, what's up with that? As he swims, you notice that he pulls his scuba tank off and just lets it drop down into the coral. You're like, well, that's not good if you're scuba diving.
Yeah.
You need air, son. He lets it fall. And then he peels off his flippers and then lets those drop. And then you're like, is he drunk?
He's polluting is what he's
That's
doing.
what he's damn doing, right?
I mean, come on now.
You watch from a safe distance, still underwater, and the dude just keeps peeling off clothing like he's the laziest underwater stripper to ever work the Caribbean, right? Now, you're like, get to Atlanta and work the real club, son. If you're going to have this kind No, so he's down to a pair of shorts, and you watch as he swims towards this approaching tiny boat.
Short shorts?
Short shorts, white short shorts. You
So
like
he's
them?
basically going full abalone diver right
Oh, yeah,
now.
a lot of thigh meat for you to be looking at.
Hubba, hubba.
So all this thigh meat slides out of the water into this little tiny boat piloted by an old Bahamian man. Mm-hmm. And David climbs aboard, and you watch the two of them disappear into the distance. You've just witnessed David Friedland fake his own death.
Whoa.
Now, Elizabeth, I got to ask you something.
I've never faked my own. Go ahead.
Okay, that was actually going to be my question. So you are currently Elizabeth Dutton.
Yeah.
You've always been Elizabeth
This
Dutton.
iteration.
Uh-huh. But if you were, how would you fake your death? Have you ever, I know you're probably not something you've thought about. You're not the type.
Well, it has to be something believable. Either I think you have to be either believable or so outrageous that people think like, oh God, how could that happen? You know, like, I mean,
So
I've
like
always
a
said,
firework explosion?
Well, I've always said, I think like the way, and I know that people have given me a bad time for this because it's sort of preposterous, but like if I had to pick how I get to die, I think I kind of want to be mauled by a grizzly bear.
That's how you could fake your death?
No, like if I were to die,
So
right?
actual death. See, we're doing fake deaths here.
Right, but I'm saying, so if I've said that to enough people, because I just feel like we
then
owe
if
it
you
to the
throw out
bears.
some body parts
I'll
and-
sacrifice myself, and it's over so quickly.
How would people be able to
But I
know
get to
you've
hug
been
them first.
Okay, I think you just want to be a grizzly bear. This has nothing to do with being a fake death.
So I talk about it, and then I somehow like make it look like I got eaten by a grizzly bear, and they're like, "Oh,
how do you do that?
As was foretold."
You just take like a shoe off and leave it with some blood?
Well, no, I get like some of my clothes and I rip them up. And then I bleed on them in one way or another. And then, maybe like barf a little in the woods because I'm sure that
terror
as
barf.
I'm like terror barf, as I'm hugging the bear.
Oh, right. Sorry, you're hugging bears.
And then we lock eyes and the bear's just like
you have
shakes
that will
its
they or
head.
won't they moment?
Then I'm like, blah! I terror barf. And then, so this is just how I'm anticipating if it had happened.
If it had happened was.
And so, there's like one shoe and some a torn up pair of Adidas track pants, and then like, half a bra, and then some terror barf, and then they're like, oh man, well, first of all,
the TV remote.
Yeah, they're like, this is what she foretold. I don't watch TV. This is what she foretold. So that's so
you're
sad.
counting on people like me to tell the authorities. She's always wanted to go like this.
Yes, all my family and friends know this. That's why I plant this seed all the time. Otherwise,
you'd fake like an octopus drowned you.
You got to just go missing, I guess, and then wait for your relatives like declare you deceased. But that takes
like
a few years.
It's like 7 years, I think, right? It's a
I
few
don't know,
years.
sure.
3, 7 years. I don't know.
So I would just be like, hey, everybody, like I would join Facebook and then post on there.
So only way you join Facebook is if you plan to fake your own death.
Yeah, and then I'm like, all right, guys, off to the,
Go
Sea of Cortez, or what do we call it now? The whatever.
The Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of California.
Gulf of California, yeah.
I'm going to go and I'm going to do some paddle boarding. And I know that's so not my style, but I'm not bringing any headgear. I'm going to just be in the sun. And
I just want to be one with the elements.
I just don't want to have any beverages weight me down.
No water, no suntan lotion.
So I'll see you in about 2 weeks. Yeah.
No, that's solid. I mean, I would believe it. I think you would probably fool the FBI.
But now I'm screwed. Now it's public.
Yeah.
I got to find another way to do it.
The problem with this, and as you will see from David Friedland's attempt, is the unexpected.
That's always the problem.
Right? So what you didn't see while you were scuba diving was that Friedland, his new boat that he piloted away with the Bahamian man, that guy didn't bring enough gas. So the boat ran out of gas in the middle of the Caribbean.
That's not an unknown. That's just an improper planning.
Well, he didn't know that the guy he hired was an idiot.
Yeah.
So,
the guy, yeah, okay.
That's what I mean, the unknown. So he has to swim to shore. So he does like a mile swim into shore. He then has to climb out of the reef. And I'm not sure if you've ever climbed out a reef, but he tore up his feet.
Right.
So then he leaves bloody footprints on the white sand beach going up as he steps out of the surf. He walks until he finds a road. So there's bloody footprints from the beach to the sand right up to the road. Then they stop wherever he got a car and hitchhiked. But this doesn't matter because he makes it to the airport in Grand Bahamas. He catches his 6 p.m. flight with just one Gucci bag. He flies to London, and he took very little with him. And I quote, I took a couple of my father's belts to keep my pants up, and I wanted something of his. I took a wrist bracelet I got on my bar mitzvah. So what does he decide to do next?
He's like on the plane, wet in short shorts.
And his bar mitzvah wrist
and
bracelet.
a Gucci bag.
And bleeding feet.
I love him. He could have died so many times between jumping off the boat. And,
exactly. Yeah. I thought you'd appreciate him.
I do.
So what he decided to do next was all based on what the government had taught him to do, because the government had taught him how to disappear completely. Really candy, right?
Yeah, that is very true, yeah.
Because years earlier, when he had refused the government offer to enter the Federal Witness Protection Program because he didn't want to give up his identity, he's like, look, I'm David Friedland. So I ain't giving that up. So he stays David Friedland. I don't care if the mafia's going to try to hit me. He knew the mafia wasn't going to hit him because he was still working with the mafia.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm worried about mob reprisals. The FBI agents teach him how to disappear completely. They're like,
he laid the groundwork. He was like, I will never not have this name. I will never go under another name.
Exactly, like
so
you.
help me God.
He set it up.
Tell all your friends and put it on the Facebook. I would never.
So unlike me. If I did that, I would be dead.
Yeah. There you go.
So he does that, and he also was taught how to reappear as someone new by the feds as well, because they're like, you got to do both ends.
It's like a David Blaine.
Yeah, remember,
thing.
crime got 3 components.
Yeah,
so
that's true. We always say.
David Friedland, being brilliant as he was, he listened carefully to the FBI, and he decided to do exactly as instructed. So he goes and says, you know what? I know the FBI didn't expect me to use this to run from them, but this is going to work gangbusters. So the FBI essentially has taught him how to evade them. So Elizabeth, what exactly did the feds teach him about how to disappear? I'm glad you asked. In case you ever wanted to or needed to know how to disappear completely, do you know how to create a second identity? How to get your own passport, a new passport?
I think it's harder now than it would have been years ago because of all the digitals.
Yeah, they put a lot of digitals in there and the holograms and the whatnots.
Well, don't you have to you got to find out about a kid who died.
That's
then
that's
find
the
their
traditional
birth
way.
certificate.
Yeah, before they get a social security number.
And then you say, I'm Timmy, and then
you apply for a social security number, and then once you get that, you go for the passport.
Right.
Well, there are other ways. So, like David Friedland, he didn't have time for all that, so he just decided he would obtain a legitimate Greek passport by going to one of his dying constituents and going, "Give me your identity."
Oh, well, there's that too.
So
that's efficient.
And I quote, he was in his last stages, and his family needed the money, so he went.
Did they look alike?
I'm like, no, I'll tell you why. He goes and he leases this identity from this dude, Ioannis Stiorgos.
Leases.
All right, I am Stiorgos. So to pull it off, Friedland, he goes to the U.S. passport office. He says he lost his passport. He hands over a photo of him, and to prove who he said he was, he hands over the army discharge paperwork for the dying Greek man, Ioannis Stiorgos. And so he becomes Ioannis Stiorgos.
Are they close in age?
Yeah, well, close enough.
Like the guy's got WW2 papers and he's just like 20.
Age would fit. It would be like, you weren't like, you were released, sir, when you were 55 years old.
He's like, yeah, so what?
So the FBI agents now, meanwhile, they don't know where he is, and they don't know if he's actually died or actually disappeared, because people do die in scuba diving accidents.
Yeah, they do.
It happens, happens often. But at the same time,
I would say it's every 1 out of 3 times people go scuba diving, they die.
So you want to stand by that one?
Yes.
You good with the math?
Yep.
So
always.
You used to be an insurance actuarial agent, huh?
33% of people who go scuba diving die.
Yeah.
That's why people don't do it a lot anymore.
I've never known anybody who's come back safely from scuba diving.
Everybody.
Either blood coming out of their ears.
I'm gonna adjust my numbers on that. I'm gonna say it's 2/3, 66%.
Look at you. It's just swinging.
I had this calculator really handy, and it's 66% of people who scuba dive die.
Well, he got lucky. He was in the third that does not. But the FBI, using your numbers, were like, he may be most likely dead. But at the same time, somebody who's facing a 7-year prison conviction and they go missing after a newly discovered second round of charges for $20 million, that changes the metrics we're using. And so they're like, we think he'd run. He was facing federal prison. We're betting he'd run. So the FBI go, we should probably start investigating.
Yeah, maybe.
And they look into it. Meanwhile, the Bahama Air Sea Rescue Team, they're performing 2-day sea and air searches. They're flying over. They got boats around. They're looking for like any kind of floating carcass on the skin of the ocean. They do not find him.
Right. Well, maybe did they find others? And they're like, oh, hey, look, this is the guy we were looking for 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I always feel bad for the searchers in that because they're like hoping upon hope that they can find someone alive or preparing themselves to see like
if they do their job right, they're going to find a dead body.
Yeah, and how, that's a rough thing to do. Plus
that's job success.
Limited resources. They're spending a lot of money, person hours and gas and snacks
snacks. And they got
the
orange
budget?
Slices budget.
Are you kidding me? The snack budget on a search party? Zaron, Burnett, get out of here.
They got the Boy Scouts out there. Who's bringing the orange slices for the Boy Scouts?
Someone's got to run to Costco and get the little individually packed trail mix. And then someone's got to get
little box drinks.
Then someone's got to go to the supermarket and get the generic.
Who's getting the batteries for all the flashlights?
All the soda 2 liters.
You've been on a lot of search teams, huh?
The logistics. Well, I'm kind of known for it. I get called in to searches all over the world to do this catering.
Like Elizabeth, please.
I cater search parties. I mean, it depends on the venue. Like, if there's a place for me to like prepare hot food, then it's like pigs and blankets.
Yeah, you do both hot and cold.
Kebabs or what have you. Whatever is on the go, like hand foods.
You want something that's portable, like a sandwich or burrito.
Exactly.
I understand. You're good at this.
I am.
Well, the FBI, they could have really used your skills and talents. So
Always.
because the FBI was big mad that some New Jersey state legislator had played them and used the Bureau as cover and was basically pulling off an even bigger criminal conspiracy now that he was an active FBI informant. That pissed them off.
A little.
Surprisingly, right? So meanwhile, the Newark federal judge who was overseeing his original conviction, he was like, so he's dead, huh? Well, I don't know about that. Now, he was going to give this guy, Friedland, leniency because he'd been doing all this work with the FBI as an original undercover informant. Well, this was all predicated on him being an actual informant and not being an actual criminal. So the judge is like, well, I hear that he's, quote, most likely deceased. Well, if this guy shows up, I'll give him 30 days to resurrect himself and he can come before the bench. So,
amen.
Yeah, total Catholic, apparently. He's just really pulling for some Lazarus move. So Friedland's absence is also a chance for people to settle some old scores, such as David Friedland's best friend, Mayor Wally Lindsley. He comes out and he has his lawyer because, his lawyer is the one who wants to talk to the press these days. His lawyer's like, hey, yeah, you want to talk about David's disappearance? I happen to have some information about that. He says that back in the day, Mayor Wally told him that the headline-hungry New Jersey press would love this little tidbit. He said, and I quote, David Friedland allegedly told an acquaintance that he was planning to stage a scuba diving accident to avoid serving time in prison.
He blew it.
You
just have to talk about what you're going to go do, not that you're, David.
So Mayor Wally he's like, I touched you back, didn't I?
And then meanwhile, Wally's like, well, he's dead. So I knew he wanted me to have, and he's going through his house, taking all the stuff. He's gone,
He wanted me to have this Porsche. He promised it
really
to me.
would.
So they asked the attorney, they're like, well, don't you think he could be dead? And the attorney's like, I quote, I don't think a moment Friedland is dead. There's not a doubt in my mind that he is alive, sitting on a beach someplace or in Switzerland someplace, laughing about the whole thing. So he's basically rattling the FBI, like, you want to go try these spots.
He's pulling the old bum fardo.
Yeah, it turns out he wasn't far from the truth at all. The bum fardo disappearance energy of hey, I was here, now I'm not.
Yeah.
He actually pulls it off. And he, as Ioannis Stiorgos, he manages... He also, by the way, has a third travel passport, which is a Costa Rican passport he got on some business deal. He was like, hey, how about a passport? And so he gets a passport while he's in Costa Rica. And the name for that passport is Richard Smith Harley. Like a motorcycle? Dick Harley. Yeah, he's Dick Harley. So as Dick Harley, he travels from the Bahamas to London. And once he's overseas, he hides out in a luxurious Spanish resort. Can't you imagine the Spaniards? Pronto, Dick Harley. Come on.
Dick Harley.
So they meet up with a woman.
Costa Rican national.
Yeah, it's described as, quote, a shapely blonde underwater photographer.
Shapely is such a good, 80s descriptor.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So
she wears a teddy.
So the shapely underwater photographer, her name, by the way, she's his mistress. And
okay.
Her name is Colette Golightly.
Stop. So first we pulled the card that was the waterfront development card.
Yes.
And now I'm like, I'm dealing out my cards for this story. Oh, Colette Golightly.
Yes. And by the way, that's her real name, or so she claims.
She talks all wispy.
Oh, yes.
Or, my name's Colette.
You have to understand, though, that this couple... They met while she was on a scuba diving vacation in the Bahamas, and the two immediately hit it off. And I quote from the Philadelphia Inquirer's coverage, at the time, Golightly had become so infatuated by the glib New Jersey lawyer that she left her husband, an Indiana eye doctor, and her children to be with Friedland, even though Friedland remained married to his third wife, Carol.
Oh, dear. The Indiana eye doctor.
So Colette Golightly has her own moral fluidity.
Yeah, right.
And so she and Dick Hartley are bouncing around the Spanish resort, starting their new criminal lives together. And after this short break, I will be back to tell you how all of this goes horribly wrong.
Of course.
Okay, Elizabeth. Last we left,
Yes.
David Friedland and his mistress, Colette Golightly, they were on the run. And where do you think that they decided to take their criminal road trip?
So they were in, Europe?
At the time, started at a Spanish resort. They go to fly to London,
resort.
and then they go down to Spain to meet up. So that at this point, they're in Spain. Where do they go?
I think they like the tropical. Is Southeast Asia?
That's a good guess. Really good guess.
Thank you.
No, they go to Africa.
All right.
They pull like a whole out of Africa, but instead of Meryl Streep, it's a New Jersey politician.
So now they're like short shorts and pith helmets.
Exactly. So while they're in Kenya, can you guess what they did?
Safari.
They went and they found Diane Fossey's gorillas.
Oh, God.
Then they, quote, watched a hippo give birth in a river.
They just had one beautiful moment after another.
Exactly. They're like an Instagram couple before Instagram. So then after this, they bounce around Central and East Africa for a while, and then they stop at the hotel, the Norfolk Hotel in Nairobi, Kenya. And the Norfolk Hotel was like one of those luxury hotels for expats and rich Kenyans who've like decided to betray their people. And so Friedland's like, I need to get a new line of work. I'm running out of spending money quick. So he invests in an African safari guide business. And he's like, this would be good for me. And this is like going to be a good way to make easy money off of fat cats, right? But he has to walk away from this investment after one of the desk clerks tips him off that the Interpol is on their way to come bust him.
Oh.
So he walks away from the safari guide deal like Robert De Niro in Heat. He's like, out of the door, right? By the way, Heat, do you like that movie?
I love that movie.
Right? Val Kilmer, right? That ponytail. I sometimes it comes to me in like weak moments. I'm just like, that ponytail.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
Just like in a humorous way. Like I need a laugh.
Does it make you feel a little funny in your tummy?
It's like imagining like three children dressed in a trench coat and they're pretending to be a human being. That's like somebody pretending to be stylish criminals. Like, it's just funny to me. I don't know why. It's like, come on. Do you think that's what criminals look like?
Really? The low pony. Yeah. I always I imagine.
He's a lawbreaker.
Yeah, but then sometimes he just takes it down, shakes
it up. Totally. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, can you imagine if his name was Al Kilmer? He had that same ponytail. He's like, I'm Al Kilmer. Anyway, so at some point, my man Dick Harley.
Are you on LSD?
And Colette Golightly, they decide, you know what? We need to leave Africa. They go back to Europe. They're in Paris now because Interpol's looking for them. So obviously,
why go to
Europe because who would think that they would do that?
God.
So they go to the French Alps, and so they're hanging out in the French Alps.
So they go to Paris, then they go to the French Alps
because they're like, well, Paris is kind of hot. They fly back to Paris, and then they go from there to the French Alps.
So many costume changes.
So you get ready for this, girl. So while they're in the French Alps, they get made by the French police. The French police are like, oh, that's that guy the Americans are looking for, right? But the gendarmes don't do anything because, France. So the U.S. Marshals and the FBI, they get really frustrated. And there's like reports in the newspapers at the time saying that the gendarmes did nothing to try to nab him in the French Alps. And they were really frustrated. They're like, we don't understand why they did nothing. Like, what the hell? Like they rarely will say stuff like this in the press, but they're going off. He's like, he was flagged on an Interpol red notice. They knew who he was. And the French authorities were like, yeah, we knew where he was staying.
They're like, in the grand scheme of things.
But the great part is dude is so committed to his I'm Robert De Niro in Heat that when he's staying in the Alps, David Friedland rented a chalet on the mountain that was right by the border, so close to the border that if he needed to in a moment's notice, he could ski out of his chalet and cross the border if he saw the heat coming up to his door.
Oh, and $5 says he was wearing a red ski jumpsuit.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So how did he pay for all this?
God only knows.
Well, I'm glad you asked. So, turns out corruption as an elected New Jersey official does pay well.
Apparently.
But on the day-to-day level, it's hard because you can only take $10,000 on a flight out of the country. So he couldn't leave with much. So he's having to get money sent to him. So he has money in banks stashed all over the world. Turns out one of his father's friends, part of this smoky criminal network. So he's like, oh, I'll take care of your boy. So he starts sending him $5,000 to whatever bank account he ever suggests. He's like, send it to this bank, this account. He's like, okay, does it. So that's pretty much how he's paying for his life, right? Now, meanwhile, as early as 1985, and he disappears in 85, right? That's when he decides to disappear. That same year, he calls up his friends and families and be like, hey, I'm not dead. Like, oh, David. Because they think he's dead. He faked his death and decides within a few months to unfake his death. So he calls all of his families and friends and starts letting them know, hey, I may call you and need some help. Oh, by the way, I'm not dead.
But keep pretending like I am.
Can you imagine if you thought a friend was dead and they called you?
Oh, my God.
I would legit lose it.
I'd be angry, I think, too.
You'd be angry?
Yeah. And then it could be wonderful, though.
All right, well, flip it. If you had to contact somebody and you've been faking your death, how would you do it?
Why would I contact anybody?
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
So Dick Harley and Colette Golightly, they're doing well on the road. They're in their French chalet, ready to bust out like heat. And they decide to have her daughter fly over to Europe and spend Christmas with them.
Oh, God.
Because they just don't give a flying F. So there's this one other time in April around 1986, maybe May, they're not exactly certain. But David Friedland, he gets away from Interpol and all these people looking for him on pure dumb luck. And also international events, because those also seem to work for him.
86?
Yeah, 86. The U.S. agents, they catch a solid tip that David Friedland has arranged to have his furniture in Kenya sent to Colombo, Sri Lanka. And if you know 86 Sri Lanka, boom. So as the U.S. Marshal, who was the head of the service's most wanted program recalled, What stymied the part was the revolution in Sri Lanka.
Right.
So they get to Sri Lanka in time for revolution, and they're looking for like one white dude. They're like, hey, have you signed this guy, David Friedland?
They're like, a little busy here.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, we got all sorts of NGO people. I don't know, look for them. So the future Supreme Court justice would later come to the same conclusion that David Friedland is kind of hard to find. At the time, though, he was still a U.S. attorney, and I quote, "We've been one step behind him for a long time." Samuel Alito.
Wow.
Yeah, he was on the case back then. Also, so was Michael Chertoff. There was a bunch of names on there.
Yeah.
So Dick Hartley, a.k.a. David Friedland, he manages to stay free and wild until 2 days before Christmas 1987. And what happened before Christmas 1987?
2 days before Christmas.
How did he get popped? How could a man so smart and so gifted with dumb luck ever get caught, Elizabeth?
I'm drawing a blank.
Well,
but...
he and Colette Golightly decided to resettle in the Maldives. And that's a very specific place.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful locations on earth. I've never been there. I've seen photos. I've always wanted to go
that's
there.
what I understand.
Looks like a great life, right? So he's living there. He's building a beach house. It's scheduled to be done with construction. On New Year's Day, it's like real close. And he's got like a luxury, at least for 1986 Sri Lanka. So that means he's got air conditioning, refrigerator, TV, and a VCR. He's noted to go to the local video store and constantly rent his favorite Star Wars movies.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I swear to God. So, and by the way, he's like laying low. He's not really dressing like a rich man. Neither is Colette Golightly. He's acting somewhat out of habitual behavior.
He's acting like an actual wealthy person would.
For the most part, yeah. But he has like these little tiny luxuries that do make him stand out. So like every morning he'd go to this hotel restaurant. He'd have a peanut butter sandwich made with peanut butter, jam, butter, and sliced banana. People have always noted that. So he'd do things that sticks out in memory, which is not something you really want to do. Yeah. Anyway, he would also tell anyone who would listen he was a lawyer from America, even though everybody knew that he was from Costa Rica, according to his passport. So there was that. Then there was also, how did he get caught, Elizabeth? Let's just skip right to it.
Yeah, please tell me. Please tell me.
The truth is, I think he wanted to get caught because, here, let me flesh out my theory. He starts doing local television, right? So because he's an old politician, so he's got that love of the camera and the
he's
crowd.
In the Maldives.
Yeah, he's in the Maldives. It's not like a big place, but it's like somewhere that he would stand out. So he starts doing local TV. He just, he can't help it. And then he also, like the Navy, U.S. Navy has ships.
When you say doing local TV.
Like he's got his scuba school, and so he starts doing ads. He starts doing
he's
like
not like their
graduation ceremonies. He starts like doing like things politicians would do.
He's like the MC of the graduation ceremony.
He's like making sure that he's on TV often.
And they're like, who is
he's coming
this
up
guy?
with reasons like, we're going to have a great weekend down here at the hotel. You guys need to, anytime you can. Yeah. So anyway, and this is the American Dick Harley, supposed to be on the low.
Oh, Dick Harley.
And also, I'm not sure if you know this, but in the Indian Ocean, we have a big U.S. Navy presence, and they stop in the Maldives for port of call. And so U.S. Navy ships would be there. He would go down to the U.S. Navy ships and go onto the ship and glad hand with the sailors and talk to them. This man was internationally famous on newspapers just 3 years prior. Any one of them could have recognized him. He's like, I'm going to take my chances. I just want to go talk to the boys. All his politician instincts, they just leap out. Right?
Yeah, he can't help himself.
So then comes the shark postcard. No.
The what?
The shark postcard, I'm glad you asked, is something he did to popularize his scuba diving school. The guy who'd owned it before him took some picture of him feeding sharks, and the sharks are in a frenzy, and it's a very like, oh, look at me putting my hand in with the sharks, and like I'm on like a very low dock, and it's so dangerous, but if you come to my scuba school, you have adventures like this, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So he goes and wants to do this. So he and some American friend, they go down, they pose for this photo. Photo comes out gangbusters. They decide to turn it into a postcard. The locals love it. They turn it into a postcard and start selling it in all the hotels for all the tourists. So there he is on a rack, just his face for anybody to recognize. Luckily for him, none of this gets him caught.
I mean, the thing is, it's like now I'm going to have to go look at all the tourist postcards I see. You don't expect that kind of thing. Like, and I don't, I think for the public.
His face though, and you knew him.
But if you knew him, but all his friends know he's still alive. And so like.
But if you're just like a New Jersey tourist.
You're not going to recognize that.
This guy, he's like a few years out of faking his own death.
But you're not thinking about those things. You're swept up in the romance of the Maldives, Zaron.
Fair enough.
You got swimmers here, and you're just sunburned.
I got tanned lovelies everywhere. I'm feeling beautiful and drunk.
You're full of cocktails.
Yeah, I've got the acid
roasted
going.
meats, and you're just like, you look at it, you don't see the faces on anything.
Okay, fair enough. That may be exactly it, because he doesn't get caught for a long time.
There you go.
Some people speculate it was a business rival who decided to drop dime on him, because he was growing so fast. He'd gotten a new contract to open up a couple more scuba schools. He was now going to franchise his scuba schools.
He's an incomer. He's recent there. I'd rat him out. I'd
and
be
he's got 3 dive schools.
Who is this guy? How did he get this money? And how can I destroy him if I'm the rival?
You're ruthless.
Yes, I am.
So some other people suggested there was a bank employee who was
if
the one.
I'm a bank employee, I see this guy coming.
He had all these irregularities. He was using different passports. They're like, wait a minute. So anyway, they tell the Maldivian police,
the police in the Maldives.
This dude's hinky as all hell, right? So they come and they show up at his cottage and they're like, hey man, we've been hearing some stuff about you. Can we see your passport? They take his Costa Rican passport. They're like, thanks, Dick Harley. And now he assumed it's about a mistaken identity because if you can believe it, there turned out to be at the exact same time on the island another man named Richard Smith Harley, but without the E, who was a British mercenary who was getting in bar fights, and he's assumed that that's who they were looking for.
Oh my God.
So this British hard man, he's like, I'm not that Richard Harley. I'm this Dick Harley. They're like, no.
I'm Dick Harley.
You're the one we're looking for. And he's like, okay. So then the local police, they come back after like a day or so, and then they arrest him, right? And they would, because they go, hey man, your passport's kind of weird. And it's like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, we noticed you have stamps from the Maldives coming in and out of the Maldives, but you don't have stamps from a single other country. He's like, about that. Yeah. Well, and I swear to God, this is what he tells them. I didn't want the pages filled up with stamps, and I would ask them not to stamp the pages. And they're like, that's impossible.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Do we look that stupid,
don't
sir?
touch my passport. They're like, eh.
So they arrest him. So then the cops go and they search his place and they discover another passport. I am Storgos. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So Jonas Storgos and Richard Smith Harley have pictures on their passports of the exact same guy. So I am Storgos and I am Dick Harley have now fused in the minds of the prosecutors.
Yeah.
And they're like, And then they go and they look up him in like their computers and they go in the Interpol database and boom, up pops a picture of David Friedland. And this whole Interpol red notice, and he's a New Jersey politician, a lawyer on the run from America. And that's where like, we should contact the U.S.
Yeah.
So they contact the U.S. And if you can believe it, back against the wall, David Friedland, he's like, I got a card to play. So he goes to them, he goes, hey, cops, I know I lied to you. Let's get past that. I was scared. I would like to ask for political sanctuary. So if I could talk to the president, and they're like, what do you mean? Why would you get political sanctuary? He's like, I'm a Muslim now. They're like, what? Because
oh my God.
That's the majority religion on the island was Islam. So he's like, yeah, I converted to Islam. And they're like, where? Can you tell us which mosque? And he's like, I have no evidence of this.
Can you tell us anything about it?
Can you tell us any tenet of the faith? And he's like, Islam. You give Allah. And they're like, okay, well, when did you convert? He's like, well, a little while ago. And they're like, where? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I have no evidence, but once I was converted, they told me all was forgiven, so I'd like to stay. They're like, that's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
So he tells them, and also later on in court, he says this exact same story. He said, I had a really weird experience, and I quote, I had talked myself into it about being Muslim. He's like, I had talked myself into it. I saw a white-robed figure. Wasn't sure if it was Abraham or Muhammad. I saw the figure sitting down, and he was beckoning to me. So he has some hallucination, like his wife accused him of having
LSD.
because of all the acid.
LSD.
So he has this acid flashback of Muhammad Abraham visiting him, and he decides, I'm a Muslim. And that's not how that works. So they're like, that's not how you become a Muslim, sir.
No.
He's like, I announce I'm Muslim. So now Dave Friedland's like, okay, looks like I'm going to prison, but I have given my word I will never go to prison again. So he's like, I got one more Hail Mary card. What do you think is this? What would be your Hail Mary card at this point? I'll give you a hint. He turns to a world leader and asks for help. Who do you go to in 1980s for world help?
Gorbachev.
Good guess. Muammar Gaddafi.
Oh, God.
So, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer.
I'm just thinking who can't help me? Gorbachev. Oh, no, Gaddafi. There's another one.
And I quote, describing himself as an American leader of a government of 6 million people, a.k.a. New Jersey, he asked the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi be notified that Friedland wanted to, quote, discuss certain matters concerning foreign policy, specifically the embarrassment the Maldivian government would experience if it deported a newly converted Muslim. So he appeals to Muammar Gaddafi for religious protection and sanctuary.
Gaddafi reads the telegram and looks at his Amazon warrior women guarding him. Is like, what do you think?
Ladies,
humor him.
They start laughing.
Yeah, they
someone
shred it.
Shoots an arrow through it. A falcon carries it into the sky. So at this point, he's like, okay, that's probably a go nowhere move. So Friedland confesses later on in court, back in America. I know it sounds ridiculous, but what else did I have? I had no foreign secrets to divulge. These were the acts of a desperate, frightened man clutching at his every last straw.
He's like, I couldn't sell out my country. I didn't have anything. I would have.
If I had anything. So the Maldivian police, and the next morning they tell him, like, hey, man, here, get washed up. They bring him some toiletries. He shaves, he bathes, he prepares for transport back to the U.S., and he's all nervous about it. And the day after Christmas, Friedland gets brought into the small meeting room. He's got a fresh shave, he's got washed hair, and there waiting for him are 2 U.S. Marshals and a federal investigator. Investigator, some, administrator type. He looks at the most wanted fugitive on their list and he says, "Good morning, David. We've come to take you back to the United States." So Friedland nearly collapses. He turns whiter than white. They say the people who witnessed it, the cops, they're like, he was bleached of all color. He started out white, but he was bleached of all color.
Translucent.
He just falls into himself. He arrives back in America at JFK Airport in New York on December 28th, 1987, right? He's gazing out at his former country, and Friedland tells the U.S. Marshals, it's good to be back in the U.S. Now, a little while later, he tells another Marshal, I was just tired of running. Now, this is to my theory. Now, after his capture, Friedland said, I felt quite comfortable there. My behavior wasn't consistent, though. Sometimes I'd think, this is great. I'm running this medical clinic and scuba diving. And then I'd start thinking about what I was doing overall. Here I am pretending to be somebody else. All that would begin to eat at me. There were times that it did bother me quite a bit. But what was difficult was the inner sense of loss of identity, of not being myself. For him, that was worse than prison.
That's interesting.
Right? Now, back in America, he still had to stand trial for defrauding the Teamsters Local 701 of the $20 million from the pension fund. And in court, at one point, he's like, he's swinging for the fences, as he often does. He's quoting from the book of Job, talking about how he's God's own personal joke, the subject of a bet between God and the devil. He's like, look at my cursed fate.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah. And he's talking about how his father raised him not to have any morals, and this is not my fault, right? Now, regardless of his theological status as God's personal joke, Friedland, he gets tried and convicted, sentenced to an additional 15 years. And the judge is kind, lets his 7 years prior run congruent, so he won't have to do any extra time. But he's not done. For his last get out of jail free card play, he's got one more. So he goes, while he's still out free, he goes to the DEA and he tries to cut a side deal.
Oh my!
He claims to the DEA that he knew about the connection between international terrorism and drug trafficking, and he tells the DEA, "I can help you find and recover stolen Stinger missiles hidden in Afghanistan."
And this is 87.
It's 87.
Interesting.
So this is like Rambo 3 Mujahideen time, right? So Friedland trades the info that he has. Apparently, I guess he got from talking to Muammar Gaddafi. I don't know where he got this information, but he trades this info and he tells the DEA where to find Stinger missiles, and they find them in Afghanistan.
No way.
And he tries to get a reduced sentence. So he gets 8 years in federal prison, and then he's finally released. Quite the life, huh?
Wow.
Or quite the fake death.
I
Anyway,
guess, yeah.
he just passed away for real earlier this year in April 2022.
R.I.P.
And the life of David Friedland.
Wow. Are you sure he really did?
I know. Raises an eyebrow. So what's a ridiculous takeaway here, Elizabeth?
I'm stuck on that last bit where you're talking about how he thought it was worse than jail to give up his true self. And it's like this guy, the ego on this guy.
Oh, it's interesting you say ego.
Because I'm just thinking you can see his behavior throughout where he has these things that are very close to his public identity of, I need to go glad hand on a carrier. I need to, schmooze around.
I need to be on local TV.
Yeah, has to be in the public eye. And he's getting energy and he's getting validation.
He starts returning to himself.
Yeah. And so the idea that he couldn't do that, I don't know. I just feel like I don't think I'd have a problem just like having to be someone totally different.
But what if the being somebody totally different denied you all the things that you know that give you pleasure?
Well,
because for him, that's what that
gives
was.
him pleasure. But you know what? Life is suffering. So
well,
I'm used to getting denied pleasure.
Well, I don't mean pleasure.
I'm used to giving up
like
nice
the real
things.
sense of not just pleasure, like a little joy or a little luxury or a little nice moment, but I mean pleasure as in imagine if food no longer tasted like anything.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
I mean real
But I just the idea of that's worse than jail. I think there are other ways to reformulate yourself so that you get that little bit, but not to the degree. So he could be involved in his community like an actual politician is supposed to be. Yeah, but
now you're talking about in theory people becoming bigger and better versions of themselves.
I want everyone to fake their death and become a better person. That's my ridiculous takeaway.
I like that about you. I find it interesting, thank you for asking, Elizabeth, is that how you can
Anytime.
turn the most beautiful place on earth into your own personal prison. Like, he's in literally one of the most beautiful places on earth, and he cannot find a way to live happily there because of the guilt he feels and the shame.
Poor me, he says.
Yeah, exactly. He's the curse of Job.
Yep.
So David Friedland cannot run guilt and shame, nor can he forget his desire to hear his real name and all that, what you're talking about, the glad handing. So he'd rather be a prisoner than be an unknown man in paradise.
But he also said that before ever having done time, right?
No, I mean, like, I don't think I think some of us can imagine prison without having to be there.
I don't know.
Well, as Sammy Davis Jr. once sang, Elizabeth, whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong.
Let it out. Do it.
I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can I be but what I am? I gotta be me. Okay, that's enough.
That was beautiful.
I would say that I Gotta Be Me is the unofficial theme song of humanity.
Definitely.
Like, that's all of our song. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Your song.
I'm Zaron Burnett. Over there, that's Elizabeth Dutton.
Right here.
You can find us online at Ridiculous Crime. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. On Twitter, we do games on the weekend. There's puzzles. And on Instagram, we always post photos of these people, these crimes, these places. So it really helps you if you want to see what it actually looks like. If you have a crime that you'd like to share with us, please do. Email us. But don't snitch on your family, all right? That is ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton, that's her, and me, Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Iona Stjorgos lookalike Dave Kustin. Research is by our resident faked death investigator, Marissa Brown. Our theme song is by Thomas Lee, and Travis, call me Dick Harley, Dutton. Executive producers are Ben, number 3 on the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list, Bolin, and Noel, no, I've never heard of Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.